The courtroom echoed with quiet laughter as the judge leaned back in his chair and smirked. "Go ahead," he said, his voice filled with disbelief. "Call whoever you want." The men standing before him looked ordinary, worn clothes, tired eyes, nothing about him suggested power or influence. No one expected what would happen next. But when he made that call, and the voice on the other end answered, the laughter stopped. The judge's expression changed instantly. Because in that moment, everything they thought they knew about him was completely wrong. Stay till the end, because this one phone call is about to change everything. The courtroom was tense, filled with quiet judgment and unspoken assumptions. People sat watching, whispering softly, forming opinions before hearing the full story. At the center stood a man named Rahim. His clothes were simple, slightly worn, his posture humble but steady. To most people in the room, he looked like someone who didn't belong there, not in a place where decisions carried weight and appearances often shaped perception. Rahim wasn't a criminal, but he wasn't treated like someone important either. He had been brought in over a dispute, one that seemed minor to others but meant everything to him. It involved a piece of land, small in value to the wealthy, but significant enough to threaten the only stability he had left. The opposing side had lawyers, documents, and confidence. Rahim had none of those things, just his words and the truth he was trying to protect. The judge, a man known for his strict approach, observed him with a mixture of impatience and doubt. To him, Rahim's case seemed weak, unsupported, almost like a waste of time. "Do you have any evidence?" the judge asked firmly. Rahim hesitated for a moment, then nodded slightly. I can call someone," he said. The courtroom reacted immediately. Some people smirked. Others exchanged amused glances. The idea that this man, standing there with nothing, could bring in someone important seemed unlikely. The judge leaned back, a faint smile forming on his face. "Call whoever you want," he said, almost dismissively. There was a tone of sarcasm in his voice, as if the outcome was already decided. But Rahim didn't react to the laughter or the doubt. He simply reached into his pocket, pulled out an old phone, and dialed a number. The room grew quiet, not out of respect, but out of curiosity. Who could he possibly call? The phone rang once. Twice. And then, it was answered. Rahim spoke softly, respectfully, explaining where he was, what had happened, and why he needed help. There was no panic in his voice, only calm sincerity. When he ended the call, he didn't look around for approval. He simply stood there, waiting. The judge sighed slightly, clearly unimpressed. "And who exactly was that?" he asked. Rahim looked up, his expression unchanged. "Someone who knows the truth," he replied. The answer didn't impress anyone. If anything, it added to the skepticism in the room. But then, something unexpected happened. A few minutes passed, and the courtroom began to settle back into its earlier rhythm. People assumed nothing would come from that call. The judge prepared to move forward, ready to conclude the case based on what he had already seen. But just as he was about to speak, the doors opened. The shift in the room was immediate. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was noticeable. A man entered, dressed simply but carrying a presence that didn't need attention to be felt. His expression was calm, his steps measured, and the moment he walked in, something changed. The judge recognized him instantly. And that recognition brought something rare to his face, uncertainty. This wasn't just anyone. This was someone whose voice carried weight beyond that courtroom. Someone whose influence reached places the judge himself respected. The room, once filled with quiet amusement, now held a different kind of silence. The man approached, not with arrogance, but with purpose. He didn't look at the crowd. He didn't acknowledge the whispers. He looked directly at Rahim. "I came as soon as I could," he said. The simplicity of that statement carried more meaning than anything else. The judge cleared his throat, trying to regain control of the situation. "You know this man?" he asked carefully. The answer came without hesitation. "Yes," the man replied. "And I know the truth he's trying to tell." What followed wasn't dramatic in volume, but it was powerful in impact. He spoke clearly, presenting facts, sharing knowledge that no one else in the room had considered. He confirmed Rahim's claims, not with emotion, but with certainty. Documents were referenced. Details explained. And slowly, the case that once seemed weak began to stand strong. The judge listened, his earlier confidence fading as the situation unfolded in a way he hadn't expected. It wasn't just about the case anymore. It was about realizing how quickly assumptions can lead to judgment. By the time everything was presented, the outcome was clear. The decision shifted. The truth was acknowledged. And Rahim, the man no one had taken seriously, stood there not with pride, but with quiet relief. The courtroom didn't react the same way anymore. The laughter was gone. The doubt replaced by something else, understanding. As the session ended, the judge looked at Rahim, his tone no longer dismissive. "You should have said who you were calling," he remarked. Rahim shook his head gently. "It shouldn't matter who I call," he replied. "It should matter what's true." Those words stayed in the room long after he left. Because sometimes, it's not power that proves a point. It's patience. It's truth. And it's the quiet strength of someone who believes in it, even when no one else does. And in the end, the judge didn't just hear a voice on the phone. He heard something much bigger, the reminder that justice isn't about who speaks the loudest, but about who speaks the truth.